In this video, I'm going to cover the black and white conversion method 8, which is called calculations. And we're going to make this image look like this one, or maybe this one.
Yes!
Are you ready? It's Photoshop time, and you know the drill. Smack it, whack it, and crack-a-lack it.
Yes! That's awesome! What?
So, I've opened this image in Photoshop, and the quickest way to apply calculations, which I think is a really good thought exercise if you need some ideas, go up to Image and down to Calculations. This may be one of those dialog boxes that when it pops up, you're like, oh, I'm out of here. So right away, I want you to go directly to the bottom, and if it's not already chosen, and it's probably not, I think the default is New Channel, check New Document, because essentially we're going to create a new document by merging two different color channels, and we have the ability to control the blending mode of that merging. We have the ability to merge two identical color channels into each other. We can invert them. We have a lot of creative control. So if there are multiple layers in the document, then set the layer to merged. I don't have multiple layers in this document, so it automatically has chosen the background layer, which is perfect because that's what it should be on anyway if there's no other layer. The most important controls are the two channel drop-down menus. These enable you to choose the channels that the calculation merges into its black and white output document. For instance, I can pick red in one drop-down box, and it's going to show lighter skin tones, especially if I blend it with another red. You see how that's lighter skin tones and made pretty much everything that had red in it much lighter. Now, as you know, I could choose blue, and blue is going to make for darker skin tones. And then you can experiment with the blending drop-down box and the opacity of this blend that basically varies the ratio of channel values that will get you crazy amount of options fairly quick. And then whenever you're ready, just click OK. And then Photoshop's going to send the combined monochromatic image to a new document. I think I would want green, and I would blend it with red. I think that'd give nice color tones to his face. I lost this area over here. Now remember, you can still invert if you wanted to, if you want to go for more of a solarized look, and you convert either color channel, or you can invert both color channels, and it's everything totally changes. I could go to screen blend mode, and you see how overlay for more contrast, and then I could uninvert the one, I could uninvert the other. You just get so many different looks depending on what it is that you want to do. So if I blend this with green and blue, I'm gonna go back up here and choose red to blue. I think I like that one the best for his skin tone. I'm just looking at the subject. I basically just want to separate the subject and the building. I want to make them both as interesting as possible. And I'm going to click OK. And notice up here it opened as an untitled 3 document. Just so you know, this is going to open as a multi-channel document in the mode. So you can go up to image mode and you see what's happening. It's very much like lab color, as in I don't have any ability to choose RGB or CMYK yet. I've lost a few of my image adjustments, just like in lab. I don't have any of these adjustment layers over here to use. It's an older process, but there are some workarounds. So I'm gonna go back to the original image. I'm gonna choose image calculations, and this time I'm looking predominantly at the building. This is a red brick building, so if I want a lot of detail in the building, I think I'd probably choose that. Make sure my result is out to a new document. So here's the thing. If I want to drag this new untitled document over to this one, pull it down, drop it in, it's going to give me a warning. Could not duplicate the layer because the source document is in multi-channel mode. That's right. So essentially for both of these, I need to go to image mode. Now I've got to go to grayscale. I've got to go right back, image mode. Now I can choose RGB color, which unlocks all of my adjustment layers. I've got to go to the one I want to copy from and repeat the process. So again, there's some creative visual opportunities for this particular method, but it's fairly long and convoluted. Okay, now I'm going to grab this layer, pull it over to the tab I want it to go in. And if I hold the shift key, this is work great since there are two identical images, it'll automatically center the image, which basically means it's going to drop it in perfect registration. Do you see that? I like the building in this one, so I'm going to add a layer mask onto that one. Black is already in my foreground. My brush is already chosen. My opacity, look up there, is at 50%. I'm just going to tap a little bit to pull back some of the information here. And then if I wanted, I'll hit X to swap my foreground background colors, and I'll just pull back any detail that was here. Now, after I've done that, compress everything or merge everything I've done to the very top layer, Command Option Shift letter E, and I'm gonna hit Command J just to duplicate that so that I now have an original compressed layer, and then I have a duplicated compressed layer so that when I inevitably will go back over to filter, camera raw filter, if I go too far, it leaves me the ability to lower the opacity or blend change the blend modes to get an even more interesting effect. So I'm in the basic edit panel. This is a good image to bump up the clarity and I get some dehaze going. I'm gonna close down the detail, close down the black and white mixer, close down the geometry. Here's the effects, probably pulling subtle vignette. And then make sure I'm not pulling out, there we go. Pull back some of those highlights that I might have been missing. Click OK. So yeah, I think this definitely has a pretty powerful look. I'm pretty sure I'd want to make the person a little lighter. So what I'll do is I'll just add a blank layer and I'm going to choose soft light. Now the old days, we would fill this with gray and then choose soft light, which makes it disappear. Now you don't have to actually do that. Just hit B for the brush. I want white in my foreground. So I'll choose white. I'm at 50% opacity, right bracket my brush bigger. I'm gonna tap once, just like a little spotlight on him. One more tap. Okay, that last tap was a little strong. So I'd go up to edit, fade brush tool. You can always come up to edit and it will fade the very last thing you did. So I can fade it. I can change the blend mode of it. I just want to pull down the intensity of that last, but there we go. And then I was like, well, maybe I do want to brighten up. This door looks a little muddy. You see the power you have? Left bracket key. Maybe I want to make right in here just a touch brighter. Now, after you've done all this, you can leave it at this point. You can go up to some kind of color toning method. I just am a sucker for this old technique of hue and saturation adjustment layer, dragging the hue over to a nice warm sepia, pulling the saturation down, and then pulling the lightness up just a touch. I just really love that look. But you can do whatever you want. I can't wait to see what you do. Thanks a lot.
Yes!
Hey, what are you still doing here? It's over. Actually, all kidding aside, I hope this video helped. And if it did, consider subscribing. I like subscribers.
That's awesome! What? You just took one in the jugular, man! Whoa! Yes! Oh my god, I did! This is...
Hey, you stayed to the end. You know what that means? You're awesome. I'm talking about you. Now get out of here.